What's going on, everyone? Tim Williams here. We're here to break down tonight's 13-game MLB slate over on DraftKings. It is Wednesday, September 29th. Welcome. If you are new to the channel, what's going on? My name's Tim. You like baseball? You like DFS? You are in a good spot. We're going to talk a little bit of strategy in this 13-game slate. We're going to talk pitching. We're going to go over some of this hitting, kind of try to pinpoint where we want to go on this slate. So if that sounds good to you, make sure to hit that like button. Make sure to hit that subscribe button. Kind of crazy that I just kind of started this because I do all this research because I'm trying to, get better myself as a DFS player. So I figure why not just try to record my process and kind of see what I look at. And yeah, it's been a pretty fun journey doing this. Just got over 300 subscribers. So thank you. And yeah, there's plenty of you out there watching, taking in all this information who aren't subscribed. So make sure you do so. And let's just jump right into it. First game we have is the Red Sox taking on the Baltimore Orioles. And man, oh man, did the Red Sox hurt us yesterday. They are in a smash spot taking on Lothar today. The bullpen isn't good. Red Sox clearly need to pretty much win out to make the playoffs here. So you would think they got a little fire under their ass, under their tushies here, but they don't. So maybe a little bit of recency bias. Maybe they go a little bit under-owned today, but again, they're in a good spot here. Eovaldi taking on Lothar. Eovaldi 8.4K, 25% strikeout rate on the year, 34% fly ball rate. He has been excellent all season long, really doing a good job of limiting the long ball here, taking on an Orioles team who's been pretty abysmal against right-handed pitching. So I think Eovaldi again goes low owned. Yes, I know he struggled his last outing, but that was against the Yankees. That was a pivotal game for the Yankees as well. So maybe he bounces back in this one. Lothar on the other side at 5K, just definitely not interested in here. 22% strikeout rate, 11% walk rate, 59% hard contact rate. That's pretty bad. Struggles more against right-handed batters. Perfect matchup for the Red Sox. 212 ISO in the last 30 days against righties. So again, Renfroe's in play. He had an excellent game last night, 4.6K, 214 ISO against lefties over the last 30 days. Dahlback, I think he's in a good spot again. He has been hot the second half of the year, 556 ISO against lefties over the last 30 days. That's incredible. 3.4K. That's some really nice value pending if he, hits. Hernandez 4.6, always like him in the spot. Martinez is too cheap for the upside. I think Devers is in play. Schwarber hit up on yesterday. I didn't talk about Kyle Schwarber because maybe the lefty-lefty matchup, but you want to take good hitters in good situations, and the Orioles are just plain bad. So the Red Sox really need to step it up, and they need to have a big game here. So I'm not trying to take into account any of this recency bias. I think they're in a good spot again. On the other side, besides Mullins, yeah, the Orioles struggle pretty bad against right-handed pitching. I like to attack them. So Eovaldi very much in play for me. Next, we have the Yankees taking on the Blue Jays. Blue Jays favorited here. Cole taking on Barrios. Cole at 10.1K. I think the price is pretty good for a guy with his upside. We know what he can do at 35% strikeout rate here. It's just a tough matchup for strikeouts. I think he's in the player pool for sure. I don't know if I'm going to get there because of the playoff implications on both sides. I think it could be a tight game. We'll see. Barrios 8.9K. Against the Yankees are hot. They're fighting. They're hungry. 26% strikeout rate here. 42% ground ball rate. What we do know about Barrios is he struggles pretty bad against left-handed batters. 226 ISO on the season against left-handed bats. I do like Gallo here at 4.4K. He's kind of boom or bust, right? We know that. 296 ISO versus righties on the season. 429 ISO over the last 30 days. Rizzo at 4.6K. He's been kind of warming up over the last 30 as well. 260 ISO against righties. And then Stanton has just been on fire, double-digit fantasy points for what it seems like for like 2 weeks at 5K. So I think a Yankees little mini stack is in play here. I know they're playing in Toronto. Weather's starting to get kind of cold, all right? So they are, probably in a dome. So I'm interested in the Yankees. On the Blue Jays side, Cole slightly more hittable by the left-handed bats, which Toronto doesn't really have any outside of like Corey Dickerson. So I am going to be off the Blue Jays here. Next, we have the Marlins and the Mets. Hernandez taking on Walker. Hernandez 7.4K, Walker at 6.6. Hernandez, 22% strikeout rate here, 42.5% fly ball rate. Extremely bad against left-handed batters this season. 296 ISO versus the lefties, 48% fly ball rate against said lefties. Walker on the other side, started out the season great, really been struggling lately. 21.7% strikeout rate, 9.3% walk rate, 40% hard contact. I think that's fair. That's fairly average, I think. 202 ISO to right-handed batters, not great. 385 ISO to lefties over the last 30 days. So he's just been really struggling. I know it's a Marlins team. They're playing in Citi Field, which kind of plays more to Walker's strengths, but Sanchez in play, Diaz at play at 2.3K. I think they're both fine as one-offs. Say you build a 4-3 lineup and you need some kind of power bat, right? I think Diaz is fine at 2.3, but I don't know. I could see kind of staying away from the Marlins. I could see staying away from the pitching in this one. Mets bats, I think they're interesting. They've been kind of disappointing all season long, right? But the prices are fairly cheap against a guy who's giving up a ton of power to left-handed batters and just fly balls in general. Conforto at 2.9, super cheap with some upside there. Nimmo at 3.3, same thing. Lindor, switch hitter at 3.8K. He's been kind of hot lately. Alonso is only at 4K, which is extremely cheap for the upside. DraftKings is really kind of poking us and say, hey, play the Mets, man. Baez at 4.1. You could full stack this team, pay up for 2 aces, and then still have a decent 3-man stack. So Mets are in the conversation for sure. Next, we have the Phillies and the Braves. Nola taking on Fried. Nola 9.5K, 30% strikeout rate here. He's been pretty excellent all season long. Gives up a ton of hard contact over the last 30 days, 48.6% of the time. To me, he's definitely in play, but it's not a very comfortable spot taking on a Braves team who is just loaded with talent. Nola, has great games. He has bad games. He's never really quite in the middle. So I'm a little uncomfortable playing him here, but I think he's in the mix for sure. Fried at 8.6K. I think that price is fine. I think the Phillies are just a pretty average team with some decent strikeout potential. 23.7% strikeout rate for Fried. He just seems to get there, right? 52% ground ball rate, 26.4% fly ball rate. That is excellent. He's been excellent against right-handed batters. Phillies have some lefties in there. Bryce Harper that potentially could be scary, but that's one batter. You got Brad Miller in there. I'm not interested in the bats here for the Phillies, nor the Braves either. For the Braves, I give a slight edge to the lefties here. They don't have a ton of them, but they got Freddie Freeman, and I'm not saying I'm going to play Freddie Freeman, but Freeman, Rosario, I think are interesting, but I think both pitchers are excellent. I'll look to them over the hitters for sure in that one. Next, we have the Tigers and the Twins. Mize taking on Pineda. Mize 5.7K. Just really only going to go about 3 innings here. They're starting to wind down some of these pitchers. 19% strikeout rate, 48.5% ground ball rate. That is excellent. 255 ISO, 53% hard contact given up to left-handed batters. Really starting to struggle more to right-handed batters as of late. Initially, I was like, we got a stack against this guy, but looking at his last few games, like he's only going about 3 innings. And if he goes about 3 innings, he's probably going to face each batter maybe once, and then maybe the top of the order twice, the 1, 2, 3 spot. So I think this is a trap game. We'll get into it when we talk about the bats. Let's finish up this pitching matchup. Pineda, 6.1K, 19% strikeout rate, 46.4% hard hit contact, that should say. 224 ISO, 2 lefties, 176 ISO, 2 right-handed batters. I worry about his pitch count. The salary's nice. I don't like Tigers bats against right-handed pitching. This game is just kind of blah. It means nothing. So I'm probably just going to fade this one. I think people are going to play the Twins. I think Baddoo on the Tigers is fine, but at 4K, I'm probably not going to get there. It's a big slate. As far as Twins go, Kepler at 3.9K. I love it because he is a lefty, but basically he's probably only going to see Mize once. This is the trap I'm talking about. Buxton pretty much on fire, but 4.9K, 323 ISO against right-handers. So I think he's in play, and Mize kind of fits the build because Mize is starting to struggle a little bit more to righties. I think he's just tired. But the Tigers bullpen over the last 30 days, 8th in ERA, 30th in home runs allowed. They've been a little bit better. So they're going to pull the plug on Mize early. They're going to get to that bullpen. I think I'm just going to fade this game. Next, we have the Brewers and the Cardinals. Hauser taking on Mikolas. Hauser 8.2K, 18% strikeout rate, near 11% walk rate. I'm not really too worried about it for whatever reason, because he just gets so many ground balls, 58% ground ball rate. The Brewers have an elite bullpen. So, yeah, just not into, hitters in this game either. Mikolas on the other side at 6.5K. I don't really want to face the Brewers or have, 15% strikeout rate for him, 49% ground ball rate. He's been a little bit better, but 282 ISO, 2 righties over the last 30 days. Yes, Brewers bats can be in play here, but I think Cardinals as well have a good bullpen. This is just a really, really nice matchup. I think I'm just going to completely fade this game, stay away. Next, we have the Angels and the Rangers. Junk taking on Hearn. Junk 6.3K. Just really low strikeout guy, 12% strikeout rate here, 48% hard contact. Really, really struggles against right-handed batters, even though it is a small sample size. Hearn 5.1K, 22% strikeout rate, 14% strikeout rate over the last 30 days. So maybe he's getting a little bit tired. Struggles against right-handed batters, but however, he's facing the Angels. So, and guess what? The Angels are facing the Rangers. So this game is just cheeks. Next, Ohtani at 6.2K, I think is clearly the best bat on this matchup. 6.2K. Stasi 2.8K. I don't mind getting there as a punt catcher play. Lagares 2.1K. Basically, the Angels have a ton of cheap righties, and these are the righties that I kind of lean on more so than the other guys like Mayfield and stuff. But I think they're all in play. If we need cheap bats and you're paying up for pitching and you're paying up for your stacks, I think the Angels are okay. I don't feel great about it. But on the other side, the Rangers, 4.5K for Garcia. I think he's in a good spot here, but that is kind of pricey. You want these guys to get 4 or 5 at bats, and I don't see these lineups just turning over. Peters, 2.5K, fine punt play, 371 ISO versus right-handers over the last 30. Average air distance in that time is 350 feet. That's a home run in a lot of ballparks. So I think he's a cheap one-off if you just need somebody to punt in the outfield. Next, we have the Reds and the White Sox. Gray taking on Rodon. Gray 8.7K, 26.9% strikeout rate here, 368 ISO versus left-handed batters, or left-handed batters have versus him, I should say, over the last 30 days. So I think he's in a fine spot. Like, I'm not going to really pick on Gray, but I'm not really sure if I'm comfortable taking him in DFS against a decent team here in the White Sox. Rodon 10.2K, 35% strikeout rate, 42.7% fly ball rate. Excellent at limiting, damage, 0.85 ISO to lefties. Right-handed batters have a 135 ISO against him. So I'm not going to try to attack him. I had some interest in here as like a contrarian, spend up. 10-2 is a lot. And then I don't really want to take anybody against the Reds either because they're super talented, but they have a lowered pitch count. He's kind of banged up coming off an injury. I think he pitched maybe 9 or 10 days ago. So I'm just not going to get to him. Gray, I think he's in the player pool a little bit because of salary. White Sox are a little bit better against right-handed pitching lately, but they lack the power. They're 29th in home runs versus righties over the last 30 days. Grandal has been excellent, but 5.3K is pretty steep when you can go pivot to a lot of other guys. So might just fade this game. Gray, I think, is in the player pool. Rays versus the Astros. Rasmussen versus Garcia. Rasmussen 5.5K, 23.4% strikeout rate, 8.7% walk rate. Does a good job limiting the power. Only gives up fly balls about 27% of the time. So Rasmussen, interesting piece. Probably only goes 4 or 5 innings. Tough matchup against the Astros, but we saw Michael Wacha almost get a no-hitter, right? Or to a point, no hit, like 4 innings, 5 innings. He was just mowing these guys down. So I think Rasmussen is an interesting deep GPP kind of punt, so you can spend up. Rasmussen's upside, though, is fairly limited. I'm probably just going to stay away in general. But Garcia, 9.2K, 27% strikeout rate here, 39% fly ball and ground ball rate, 193 ISO to these left-handed batters. So I think the left-handers are certainly in play. It's tough because Astros bullpen is pretty decent. Rays the same. Rays bullpen is excellent as well. Lefties I'm interested in. Lau at 5.1. It's expensive, but he's definitely in play because of power upside. Meadows at 4.4. Zunino always in play if he's starting a catcher because of his catcher power upside. But Meadows is an interesting kind of one-off at 4.4 that feels like it's an appropriate price for him. Am I probably going to get there? I don't know. If I'm building 1 to 3 lineups, probably not. But if you're MMEing, mass entering, I think the Rays have to be in the conversation a little bit. Garcia is probably going to only see 5 or 6 innings. So they want to kind of save that arm a little bit. So I'm out on the Astros bats. Next, we have the Indians and the Royals. Plesac taking on Lynch. Plesac 7.2K, 17% strikeout rate, 46.5% ground ball rate. Just kind of 214 ISO against righties, but he has improved that over the last 30 days. He just has zero upside here. Lynch 6.8K, 18% strikeout rate, 9.6% walk rate, 210 ISO against right-handed batters, 305 ISO over the last 30 days. So that is not good. Regressing a little bit here. The bullpen is dead last in strikeouts over the last 15 days. So it kind of makes me interested in the Indians a little bit. Lynch is struggling against righties pretty bad lately. And like we said, the bullpen struggling as well. So Reyes at 5.1K has a lot of major upside here. Ramirez at 5.9, Miller at 2K really offsets that, 3-man stack. I think he's very much in play. He's bare minimum. If he does anything, that certainly helps your lineup. Hedges at 3.1. I don't feel great about it, but he has power upside. So the Indians, look into it. I think the Indians are kind of interesting here. Royals on the other side, the last 30 days, they're 6th in batting average, 27th in strikeouts, and 23rd in home runs. So they're not really hitting the ball out of the park, but they are kind of pesky. They're getting these base hits. They're not striking out a ton, so it makes me off of anybody basically pitching against them. Perez, the only bat I trust in this lineup, 5.7K, but am I going to spend it? I don't know. Maybe. He has been hot. He hit a home run yesterday. He's approaching the 50 home run mark. So next we have the Diamondbacks and the Giants. Kelly taking on Wood. Kelly 6.4K, Wood 7.9K. It's getting cold in San Francisco, so that kind of favors the pitching matchup a little bit. But Kelly, 19% strikeout rate, gives up a lot of hard contact. He's allowed 5 home runs over the last 3 games, so he just hasn't really looked good. He hasn't really looked himself. He's had some good games in the past, but really facing the Giants, it's a tough matchup for him. So I'm staying away. Wood at 7.9, 26% strikeout rate, 48% ground ball rate, 43.9% hard contact given up. Last game, the last game he's pitched over 90 pitches was on August 20th. The game after that was about 82, and then it got less and less. So I'm off of Wood. I think the days of Wood being a strong pitcher this year are kind of over, even though the matchup is nice. Giants have an elite bullpen. They're not going to let Wood go out there. So Crawford, Yastrzemski, Longoria, Duggar, all in play. I think the Giants lineup in general is in play. The Diamondbacks, don't have a good bullpen. I think the Giants, anybody facing the Diamondbacks are always in play here. So the Giants can maybe go a little bit lower owned. I think they're certainly in play. Next, we have the Padres and the Dodgers. Lamet taking on Scherzer. Lamet, for whatever reason, is 11.4K. We're going to stay away from that. The bullpen's a little bit beat up, which is kind of interesting. Dodgers side, Scherzer at 10.4. I think he's most definitely in play, obviously, right? Padres haven't really looked all that great this year. 35% strikeout rate here. Scherzer does give up a decent amount of fly balls. He can give up a home run. He can give up 2 home runs. He can give up 3 home runs, but he could still get there with the strikeout upside. Struggles a little bit more to left-handed batters, but I'm not really too interested in the lefties here. Like, who do we got? Cronenworth and like Adam Frazier. Yeah, I'm staying away from the Padres. I think Scherzer's in play for sure. I haven't read up on how far they're going to let him go, but I think he's firmly in play because of the upside. Dodgers bats, I think, are equally just as in play. However, they're just really expensive. Bats 6'1", Turner 5'6", Muncy 5'6", Smith 5'1". Pretty much a lot of them are over 5K. It's going to be really hard to get there because we want to pay up for some pitching on this 13-game slate. So if you can make it happen, do it. But yeah, Scherzer in this one, Dodgers bats in this one. Next and final game, Montas taking on Gilbert. You have the A's and the Mariners. Montas 9.4K, 26.6% strikeout rate. He has been pretty excellent all year long. 35% fly ball rate. I think he's firmly in play. The Mariners do have something to play for here. Gilbert on the other side, 7.6K. I think the price is kind of fair on him. I think the upside is kind of limited at this point of the season for him. 25.9% strikeout rate here, giving up a lot of fly balls, being hard hit quite a bit. The A's are a really tough matchup here. I think the right-handed batters are very, very interesting in this spot. Righties hit Gilbert pretty decently, but they're just a little bit too pricey for the upside on the A's. And then on the other side, Mariners are dead last against right-handed pitching in batting average this season, but they are slightly improved since the beginning of the year. This is an interesting one for all the BVP truthers out there. Mariners have a 323 career average against Montas, so that's kind of interesting. I was definitely like super interested in Montas, and I still am because this is a silly little sample size, but I think Montas is the better pitcher in this one. I'm probably just going to stay away from the bats here. There's other places to kind of go to. I don't really love taking bats in Seattle, so that'll do it. My name is Tim Williams. Make sure you follow me on Twitter. I keep forgetting to mention that Tim Williams DFS is my handle. Give me a follow, say what's up, comment below. I'm kind of curious your thoughts. What did you think of the Red Sox kind of imploding yesterday? I think they're in a good spot again. A lot of these teams are in good spots here. So yeah, that'll do it. Best of luck to you. Make sure you hit that like button, subscribe to the channel. Peace out.